All right, we are back for sprint 3 of our local business upvoting app. So again, if you're joining us for the first time, what we're doing is we're in a boot camp for AirDev. It's basically training to learn a lot of the basics and limitations and features and possibility of a no-code tool called Bubble. You can access that at bubble.io. And so for this task, we're planning and building out a app where you have the functionality of an upvoting app. So if you're familiar with Product Hunt or Reddit, both of those have that feature. And so we're basically going to recreate that and then apply it to some use. The one we've chosen is upvoting local businesses in the Louisville area, so you can learn what's happening in your city from a local business standpoint and support those businesses during this holiday season, as well as during this crazy year of COVID and healthy at home. So today we're tackling kind of the third sprint. What that entails is we're going to make sure that we have all the core features of the requirements of this project as listed out by the bootcamp. We're also going to tackle some bugs, maybe do some user experience fixes and just tweaks, and then we'll do some permissions, some sorting, and then user testing just to make sure everything is kosher. So I'm going to pull up Twitch over here. If you have any questions, you can post in the chat on Twitch, or you can send a message or tweet on Twitter. Again, my personal Twitter is @LopesLibero, and then we have the Made with Bourbon account. That's a side project I've just been thinking through, and so either one of those. Again, my name's Austin. This is not task 1, but there we go. Cool. Well, let me get the screen share going and we'll get started today. All right. Again, for the screen share, we're using a tool called Switcher Studio. It allows you to have a multi-input video feed, all while using iOS devices. I also have it connected to my Mac, so I can share the screen and we can cut between the angles just like this. So check them out for sure. If you have any streams, they're a great company doing super cool things. All right, we have Twitch pulled up, we have Twitter pulled up, we have the app pulled up. Let's get going. Picture in picture, here we go. So right now I have pulled up the our sprint planning document. So we've knocked out sprint 1 and 2 already. We have the core functionality of the app. We've been documenting some bugs or missing features along the way, just to be mindful so that way we can revisit them. As we've said previously, it can get very easy to get stuck on something and then you're on item 2 of your sprint, and the rest doesn't get done. So what I like to do is if I start getting stuck, if we don't, solve it in 5 to 10 minutes, I'll add it to this list and then we'll move it to another sprint. The only time that we don't do this is if it's a core functionality and the next sprint relies on it. And so we would basically move this to the bottom of the sprint, tackle the rest, and then revisit. All right, so we have our list of bugs. I don't want to, let's tackle some of these where they're core to functionality. So these top ones, I'll highlight them. So the first one was yesterday, attempting to vote without being logged in should prompt login and wait till user is logged in before voting. So what that means, if I switch over to the application, is if we were to try to vote while not logged in right now. We have it set up to where it pops up, this pop-up, but if we click out, it's not doing anything. But if we log in, let's see, I don't think I fixed this last night. I tried to save everything till today, but I also was playing with a few things. That's not this one. There we go. All right. Again, that was LastPass. So it did prompt us to log in. It did not do a vote. Yesterday we had an issue to where it was wanting us to it would vote even if we weren't logged in. So it was skipping to that. We're going to come back here, see what's going on with that. See if I did fix it last night. I don't think I did though. So we clicked on this upvote button, and let's see what the logic is there. When the caret is clicked and the parent group's business contains current user, we're going to vote or not vote. Vote or not vote. Let's come back. And then, do we have any only when? No. All right. I'm not sure why that prompted a vote then. All right, so we may have fixed that. Log in. Oh, that's where we did it. So we are showing this pop-up only when the current user wasn't logged in, all right? And then it was making a change only when the current user was logged in. So this is one way to do it. It looks like we did solve this, and I just didn't notate that. So this is saying, hey, if they're not logged in, we're just not going to do this, which is, that's totally one way to do that. Another way is you could change it to where if you're not logged in, this functionality of this button does the pop-up instead of doing the upvoting, and then once you're logged in, we change the functionality to upvoting. But I like what we have here. We'll see later when we start doing some user testing if there's any bugs associated with that and if we need to readjust. All right, so the first one is done. Required user to be logged in to submit a business. So right now we're not logged in, but we can still add a business. So again, we want to do the exact same thing. When you click on this button, you should be prompted with the user if you're not logged in. So what we can do is copy this and paste it over here into this step, right? Because it has all the logic that we already want. So when the Add a Local Business button is clicked and when the user isn't logged in, show the pop-up, all right? And then show the sign and pop-up. And then this submit a business, show this pop-up is only when the current user is logged in. So now if we come back, this pop-up won't show the sign-in now, or I'm sorry, won't show the Add a Local Business. I have not had my coffee. I apologize. So we'll do login, email, again, put in our email from LastPass, and hit login. And now we can click that and then it shows. So the other thing we wanted to do is sort based on vote count. And again, I have this list on one screen, and then I have the workspace on the other. So I'm just going back and forth. We have these two done for now. Sort based on vote count. So if we come back to our voting, switch screens again. Our main app page. Right now this list is just ordering it based on when it was submitted. So the data source is here, and you'll see there's no sort by. By default, we want to sort by the business votes. Let's see, count. I don't know what's not here. We might have to do a calculate on that, but I just want to make sure, since we were having those connectivity issues yesterday, I'll be refreshed. All right, sort by, yeah, it's not there. Let's see if we can add a new constraint. So we want to show them is it empty? Actually, even if someone downvotes, we'll leave that. All right, so change which field, random sorting. Let's see what that does. Oh, so this is saying if we wanted to current user, if we wanted to set like a sort feature up here to where you could click how you wanted to sort, that's what this one would be. All right, so we're not seeing the votes. My guess is we can check the reference on this and why it's not showing. All right, let's continue on. This is core functionality, so let's solve this problem together. Nothing on Twitch. Nothing on Twitter. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is come back over here, and we're going to do bubble, reference, or forum, right? So bubble has two kind of community help areas. The reference, which describes the different fields and what they need, and then the forum, which is more of a community help. So forum, and then we're going to say repeating group, sort by count. Let's see if anyone's saw that. Count data. And then data source, sort by, what's weird is in this support it's saying that we can do repeating groups list of, but it's not doing that. So, and this actually doesn't look like it's solving the problem we're trying to do. Let's come over here. All right. Let's try installing this toolbox plugin. It adds some feature sets. Alright. Come back and search for business, sort by. Let's refresh now that we installed that. Alright. So now if we come back to this, search for business. That's right. Sort by. And then we're still not seeing anything here. So all right. Let's go back to the, sorry, I realized I didn't switch screen just now. I was trying to see if there was another way that we could do that count feature. So let's come back to this. And see what they said. Started, post creation, upvoting, and okay, nothing in here. Okay. Well, we have a few things we want to do today, so I'm going to skip that. We've spent about 5 or 10 minutes just on that, so we'll move on into the rest of our bugs and our feature sets we wanted to tackle today. So, description, how to upvote and why. That's just a context piece. So if we grab all this and move it down some, then we can bring in the text. I don't know why it's been pretty wonky lately with the sizing. And again, when this happens, well, now this is over here. Some wonky things are happening. Let's refresh. None of us have had our coffee yet this morning. It's alright. There we go. And so we can change this width to like, let's do 500. Right click horizontally, in here, type our text. So we'll type in here, right, click the up arrow to identify a business you love or would like to try out, or submit a local business that's not on our list. All right, we'll hit save and drop that down. I realize now we opened that up to center and we did not do that. So we'll center and there we go. So this just gives some context to the site, what it is, what people are seeing, and what to do. Up arrow, add local business. All right, and then when they try and do either of those, it'll prompt them to sign in. Let's real quickly modify this sign in to say let's see, we'll copy this. This is not linked to anything and move it to the top. And we're going to save some room over here. So I'm going to make this alright, so we have these here. Move them down. And then we'll make this say to upvote or submit a business, please sign in. Let's see, please create an account or sign in. We'll use login since that's the same language. Adjust the spacing a touch. All right, and center that. There we go. So now we have a little bit of context when users land on this page as to what they're seeing and why they're seeing this, right? So before it just popped up, they had no context. Now they'll see that. Okay, come back to our list. We added that description information, convert upvote icon to thumbs up once upvoted. So this is just a thing unconditional. It's also part of the user experience. So again, last night I was just reviewing this and seeing what we had and how it was going, different feature sets we wanted to change. Select another property, we'll change the icon to thumbs up. All right, and then another thing we'll do is when the parents group business votes contains current user and this icon is hovered, right? So basically what we're saying here is, hey, if they've already voted for it and they hover over that thumbs up icon, then we want to change the icon to minus. Just to make it neutral. So we're not doing a down arrow because like we don't want that like negativity per se, but also when they click it, they're not voting down, they're just removing their vote. So we're just going to do like a neutral minus and see if that works. My guess is the coloring might not change back, but we'll see. All right, so we've upvoted all of these. When we hover, we get the minus, and it goes back to the normal color. These are pretty giant though. And also you're seeing that we didn't update that in the My Vote section, so that's why these aren't changing. Let's see if we can change any of that. And this is like kind of the fine tweaking of this. So we don't want to spend too much time. Element. Oh shoot. This is why I need a producer. I haven't been showing you this the whole time. All right, so what we did, we clicked on this icon and we went over to conditional and we added that when the vote contains a user, we're going to change it to a icon thumbs up. And then when they hover over it and they've already voted, we're going to change it to a minus. And so that's what this looks like. So you can still upvote like normal. It shows that you've upvoted. And then when you hover over it, it's a minus. And let's also change that color back to the original. All right. So now when we refresh, I'm so sorry about that. All right, so now when we hover, it's back to the yellow. We might even want to make that red, but yeah, or make it gray. Let's do it gray. And we'll do a lighter gray. There we go. So colors are done in what's called hex. You don't have to learn hex, you have color pickers, but once you like choose brand colors, having that hex code so you can keep things consistent, that's why we do that. All right, make the icon rotate and not clickable style, element fixed width. Let's see if we can do that to 40. Nah. All right. Cool. So we got that done. Convert icon, and we'll mark it done. User that created business should be able to edit or delete it. All right. So what we can do here is we have this learn more button that's not showing. Let's look at our elements tree, and we'll see the learn more. I'm actually going to copy that and swap it out for this because we've already added some logic to this. There we go. All right, so use it, create business, should be able to edit. So we want this like learn more over here. And we'll like put it kind of towards the bottom, and then we're going to add an icon over here. The core requirements of this app just say to delete, to be able to delete it. We're also going to do edit, and I'll show you how to do that. So pencil is edit, and we'll make that 24. Let's actually do 32. That's pretty small. Split the difference. All right, and then we'll align that to left and there, and then paste it another icon next to it, and choose a crush. All right, and then for both of these, we're going to make them to where they don't show on page load, but if the current like the row that we're in, because remember we have this to where if you hover over the row, we show this learn more button, so that's why it's in the parent group. These are inside of the parent group. All right, so the parent group's business, and then if we come down to creator, is, all right, not is empty, we just want is the current user. All right, then we're going to make this visible, and then just to make this easy, we'll copy that condition and put it also on the delete button, and we're going to change the name of this to be button edit, and then button delete, just so you know. All right. I'm not seeing anything on Twitch or Twitter. Cool. We'll continue on. And all right, so now that we've set this to where you're only going to see it if you're the creator, I created all of these, so I'm actually going to see the icons on each of these. Yep, I don't really like that you see them all the time. So let's add that functionality to also only show on hover. This current user, and click more. The row is hovered. All right, so we'll copy that expression and paste it into here. Cool. So now those buttons, rather than showing all the time, refresh real quick. Now all those buttons only show based on the row that's hovered. Okay. But if we hadn't created this, so I can come over here to the database, and just for example's sake, let's say we edit this field for Renaissance, and I don't think it'll let me, oh yeah, well, great. No, it won't let me edit this. Okay, so I would have to create it manually. All right, so I can't really show you that, but we got that working. So now what we need to do is, if I click on these right now, they're not going to do anything. So let's add some functionality. The first thing I want to do is, when you click on delete, I want to make sure that you are sure and that something doesn't just get accidentally deleted, because the second it gets deleted, we lose all the data. So all the previous users, all the the information about the business. So we want to show a confirmation pop-up. So again, we're just going to draw a pop-up on the screen, get wide, and then we'll make the title text confirm business deletion, and we'll make that a little bit bolder. All right, and you'll notice we're not seeing it. My guess is it's actually behind. So again, we'll look at this elements tree and see where it is. It is nowhere. Click out, oh, there it is. So I'm going to cut that element, come back to the pop-up, and we're going to paste into it. All right. And again, we're going to center that. There probably could be a style somewhere where it's just centered by default, but we've not done that yet. We've not messed around with styles. All right, confirm business deletion, and then we'll add another text. See the red outline? That's saying this text is going to drop into that. We're not seeing it on the pop-up. So I'm going to click on that, and now we have the red outline on the pop-up. So we'll put it there. Are you sure you want to delete we want to pass in an event to this box, so we're going to change the type of content to that business, and now you'll see we'll be able to add dynamic text, parent group's business, name, with, oops, so I want to add more text. First, no, name. This part gets a little frustrating when we switch back to text. With, and then we'll come back here, parent group's business. We're not seeing, oh, there it is, votes, count. All right, upvotes. This is permanent. Permanent and cannot be undone. So again, we want to let them know, hey, do this. It's all that data is gone. So I'm going to extend this out. So this is going to extend quite a bit. We're going to let it, and if it's smaller, we'll let it do that. Let's go ahead and add a button. There we go. Again, I don't know what's going on with the sizing, but we'll say delete business. We'll make the width to be 100, and we'll make the height to be 48 to start there, just so we can see it, resize it. And then we're going to add another button called cancel. Resize this. Just make them the same. All right, and this one will be cancel, and then they have a style where it's outlined. There we go. All right, so if we do this, these are pretty wide. Again, we're getting caught in the details a little bit, but here we are. All right, so now we have to add functionality to this. So when we click on the delete button, we'll start edit workflow, and we will data, delete a thing, and parent group's business. All right. And again, we don't have to set any like, you can only delete if you're logged in, because the delete button only shows up if you're logged in. So we don't have to do that. One thing to check in the future is to see if Bubble does that by CSS or if it just doesn't even load the button, because there could be a possibility to where someone who's good with computers, knows code, could go in, show the delete button, and then click it, and then this would start even if they weren't logged in. So that's something that we could test later, but it'll be fine for now. All right, the next thing that we need to do, come back to the design and hit cancel. And what does that do? Well, that button is super simple. It just closes out of, it hides the pop-up. Super easy. Hide pop-up, and we didn't name that, so we'll need to name that, but there we go. And then for the deletion, let's go back to that, and if they aren't, they would have to be on that page. So we'll just do the same thing, hide the pop-up. All right. And then now we need to tell the page where if this icon is clicked, then we're going to show that pop-up. And there we go. So now we have deletion functionality. Let's test it. I don't really want to delete one of these, so let's add just kind of like a test business, some description, and click save. All right, so let's say we wanted to delete this. We're seeing the icon to learn more. We're seeing this pencil icon. We still can't click on that because we've not told it anything to do, but if we click delete, it's going to show confirm business deletion. Are you sure you want to delete? But it's not showing the name with 0 upvotes. So let's see why it's not showing the name in that pop-up. We're also going to rename this pop-up and then confirm deletion. All right, so why parent group's business name, and then is there a value? Formatted as, no. Okay. That should be showing. I'm not sure why not, but we could always add that to our list. If we do is, that's gonna test to see does it exist. So let's come back and see if that updated any. Nope, it didn't. If we try and delete this one, it's not showing the vote count. So there's something to where we're not passing this. And that's because we did not send it. And so When I say that, I mean this delete button is not sending the information of what we're trying to delete. So we missed that step in the button delete, and what we'll do is element actions, and we'll display data to the confirm delete, and that should fix it. All right. So now if we refresh, there's like these little minor things. The biggest thing is, test as you work, because that's how you catch this stuff. So now if we hit confirm delete, boom, there we go. Test business with 0 upvotes. We just need to add a space there. And if we hit delete business, it's gone. So there you go. Let's real quick add a space to the pop-up, confirm delete. And it's there. There we go. And then come back, refresh. These icons are giant. Wish we could decrease the size, but it decreases the size of these carrots. So we might use maybe a different icon than the carrot. All right, if we hit delete, yep, the space is added. No, we don't. If we hit cancel, it just disappears. So what if we hit that? Yep. And there we go. All right, add a local business, that's good. Let's come back to our list, see how we're doing. All right, so we did user that created business should be able to edit or delete. Let's, actually we didn't do the edit, so let me show you how to do that real quick. So let's come over to the edit icon. So let's say, the user submits a business, but they typed the name wrong and they don't see it until it's here. We want them to have the ability to edit their post. So we'll click on edit and start edit workflow. And we will, the first thing that we're going to do is we need to tell it to do something. So the workflow that we're going to do is we're actually going to reuse this submit a business pop-up. And one thing that we can do is we can change some of this text to where if the business does exist, rather than it saying submit a local business, it says edit and then the business name. And then it would pre-populate all of these fields with those items. Okay, so let's do that. Come back to the workflow to say when button edit is clicked, we're going to display the data in the submit pop-up. Data to display is the parent group's business, right? Because that button, the edit button, is in that repeating group row. So we're going to send that business to the submit business pop-up. All right, and then we're going to, once we send that data, we're also going to show the pop-up. Okay. And just to make sure we are resetting the pop-up when, like before the pop-up is shown. So like when a local business button, add a local business button is clicked, then we reset it. It's not when the pop-up shows. So those are two different steps. And you all can't see. Where is my producer? Just kidding. All right, let's go back real quick to, we have to be able to edit this pop-up now, and we made it a reusable element. So we're going to edit that, and we're going to tell this pop-up that it has a type content of business, and we're going to make this text conditional to say when parents group business is not empty. So that's saying, hey, if we send a business to this pop-up, meaning the parent group's business is not empty, when we load a new business, like submit a local business, there is no business created because that's what you're creating. So it's only when we're editing do we send an existing business to it. All right, so when we're sending a business, we're going to change this text to say edit business. All right, and then we're going to assign these values the values that are there, but we're only going to do that so let's make that conditional. When there's parent group's business is not empty, then we're going to change the initial content to the parent group's business name. All right, we'll do the same for all of these. So we actually can copy this and then paste just to save some work. And all we change here is what the content will be. So this will be the website. Click on the description, paste that condition, change that to be description, and then click on the location, paste condition, and then we're going to change the default value to the parent group's business location. All right, and then we'll tell this button to, when it's empty, I'm sorry, not empty, we're going to change the text to say update business. All right. And then the last thing we need to do is change this functionality to where when save business is clicked and only when parents is empty, then we're going to create a new business. But when it's not empty, let's copy and paste. When it's not empty, then we're going to modify. So we should be able to replace with, make changes to current thing. Parent group's business, and then we have to retell it all the fields. So again, name, website, description, and location. All right. Assign it values, name, value, website, value, description, value, location, all right, so in theory, we should be good to go. Refresh. All right, so let's change, let's say they misspelled desserts. So 2 desserts, 1 dessert. Let's say that they had saved this, and we'll edit twice. If we click update business, that'll change. It doesn't create a new one. If we want to change it again, to put it back, we can do that. Let's say they updated their address to 1758 Bardstown, You'll notice some new feature here. I was playing around with that to see if we could fix some maps issue from yesterday. Still don't have that fixed, but we do have some new functionality. So you'll see I can actually, it's doing a search, I'll show you that, but we can type Renaissance and it will actually pull its whole address. You'll see that it changed the update business button language and the name of the pop-up. So update business, and now if we click on learn more, we're seeing that address there. And again, the map is still broken, not sure why. All right, so now we have editing permissions. Let's go ahead and upload these. We love both of those restaurants. Usually created business should be able to edit or delete. And then also if we click add a local business, it's back to submit a local business in the same form. So all the functionality is still there. So good to go. All right, we'll come back to our list and mark that as done. Add upvote for submitting user. So if someone submits a business, we should automatically add that submitting user, add an upvote for that business to the user. If they're adding it, they probably like it. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Come back to design, and we'll go to, actually let's stay in the save business. And we'll go to is empty, right? Because that's when we create a new business. So let's go ahead and add a vote and add, and then we'll do current user. And that's as easy as that. So if we come back to here, so before when you created a new business, it would have been 0, and then you would have to click it to upvote it. So now, by default, if we add a new business, let's add naive, delicious food with consideration for those with allergies and dietary restrictions. Check them out. Restrictions. Where's our heart? Let's try this functionality. Naive, perfect. Click Save Business, and now our upvote is automatically added. Boom. All right. I didn't switch it back again. The worst. All right, so all we did was we came over to, we were in the pop-up, we edited that save button, we're in this create a new business, and we just added vote, add current user. So that one was super easy. Sorry about that. Back to the list, and we'll check it off. All right, so the rest of these are added functionality outside of the scope of this boot camp. So we're not going to tackle these right now. So bugs, site nav, add user, user testing. So let's dive into some user testing just to make sure everything works, because at this point we've completed all of the requirements of the project, of the client. Obviously, we can add tons of features. These were just some ideas we came up with last night. And we will get to that in another video of adding some new features. We won't get to it today in this session. So let's go ahead and do some user testing, make sure everything's good to go to submit this task. So what does user testing look like? Well, basically, switch back over. We remembered this time. That's great. User testing, all that means is we're going to start creating some potential scenarios and see if our application breaks and identify where those gaps are. So let's just start playing around, try and break our application. you're purposely trying to break what you did. So let's first log out and see what we can do. We can look at the business. So yeah, first bug that I'm seeing is once you get to this business page, you're not seeing a button to get back. All right. For the purpose of this exercise, all we're going to do is add a back to list of businesses button. In the future, we'll add like a navigation and all of that, but just for simplicity's sake, so we're going to go to the view page and drop a button. Actually, I'm going to draw it since it's been weird. I'm just going to put it in this top left. And move everything down. Alright. Oh, we didn't grab a few things. Oh, because they're hideable. There we go. And we got that. Alright, so I'm going to drag this across to be full screen. There we go. Okay, so all this is going to say is back to business list. And that's a lot for a button, so let's just say back to list. All right, cool. And then we don't want this to be the main like thing, so we'll do an outline and then start workflow and navigation, go to page. And we'll just go to the home page. And we don't have to send any data. So now when we come back to learn more, we have this back to list button, and there we are. All right. So can we upvote? Select two, we click out. It's not voting, so that's good. Can we add local business? If we close out, nope, we can't do that. The login. If we click login, it takes you to that. If we click sign up, it should take you back. That's good. Reset your password. That all works. Okay, can we go to a view page, and what happens when we go to a view page without the number? All right, so it's just an empty page. So one thing we can do for that on the view page is on page load. So if we, when page load, let's just do when current page business is empty, then we're going to, oops, that's a condition to modify. Backup field for URL, that's what it is. So, no, that's not what it is. Okay. Let's see what that does. I think it just changes the URL. So if we go back, no, it doesn't. Okay. All right, so what we want it to do is on page load, if there's nothing here, then take you back. And so I know you can do it. It's just a matter of finding out how. Let's go to workflows. Oh, here it is. So general event when page is loaded and the current page business is empty, then we're just going to do a redirect to the list, the home page. Let's try that. So it shouldn't do anything to this page because we have an event, it was passed to it. All right, but if we take out this event in the URL, we hit view, all right, it took us here and then it redirected. So let's see if we can speed that up. Replace by another type. All right, so basically all I did was when the current page is empty, then we're just going to go home. So now let's try to go back to view. And this part feels a little like boring, tedious, if not great content, but it is a very important part of the process, is just testing your app, see where it breaks, and solving and thinking through those issues. Because you don't want the user to experience it breaking, because then your app wouldn't be used. All right, so both kind of have a delay, but there is a redirect. So one thing we can do is on the page, on the design itself, is do a conditional to where when there is no page is empty, then we can change the text, like, oops, no, I'm sorry, I've been saying event, I mean business. And then do another conditional for when the page is empty. We'll change this text to you landed on the view page without a business to view. Will redirect you back to the list now. Sorry about that. All right, so now let's see what happens. Let's go back. And if I take this out, oops, no business here, redirect. All right, that's a user experience I can live with. Cool. Let's try and add a local business and sign in. Let's try to sign up with the same email. All right, test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. All right, so there was a little alert that popped up. Oh, there it is. Email is already in use. Okay, so we can't do that. That's good. Log in. We'll use that account we already have. And we'll hit add local business, and now we're back to it. All right, let's see. Renaissance desserts. And website. What happens if we just do a text here? This is a website. and then no location. So my guess, yep, it let us save that. So now we have two with the same name. So one thing we could do in this feature set is say, actually I have to come back to the submit. There's it, submit, edit. Go to button and say not empty is empty. Okay. Create a new business. We'll add an action that says we want to stop. Or actually, let's just do this only when I'm trying to think of how Bubble would handle this, right? So in a normal world, I would check before we save the event to see, do we already have a business with that name in the database? And if we do, we present the user an alert. Sorry, that already exists. If we don't, it goes through the process. So how do we want to do that? We can make this a conditional as well. So is empty and the input business name value is not, do a search for type business, add a new constraint based on name is equal to the input of the business name's value. Alright, so is empty and the business name's value is not and let's just do a search for business name value. And count is equal to 0. All right, I'm going to copy that. Search for businesses count is equal to 1. So basically what this is saying is we're going to run a search on the existing businesses. If we find a name that's equal to the name in that input, then we're not going to save it. And we're also going to show an alert that we have to create. A warning style, a business with this name already exists. All right, we'll call this alert duplicate business. All right, and then we come back to say business, and we edit that, and duplicate that. Copy, paste, and we're going to say if this is greater than 1, greater than or equal to 1, then let's delete these. We're going to show an alert. Or I'm sorry, I always forget alerts have their own element. Show message. All right, let's see if that worked. It was a little crazy, but let's see. All right, we're going to delete this, add a local business. We're just going to call it naive website. Naive. Say business. Oh, now let's see if it's in the database. All businesses. Nope. Well, refresh data. All right. So it did not add the naive with the website of website. So we've blocked that functionality. So that's great. All right. If we change this to naive it, we should save it. And there it is. So it's different. But one thing we'll notice is now we have just website, which is not a real website. So we want to come back and say website content format is, let's do a conditional to where when this inputs value does not contain I know that there is a value where you can evaluate the type, but we might not just do that for right now. All right. All right, so we'll skip that and add that to our list so we don't spend a lot of time on it. And yeah. All right, so we'll go back to our user testing and come back to the list. All right, and go to preview. And so we're able to add a local business, but not one with the same name. Can we delete immediately? No. Delete after? Yes. So one thing we should check is, let's create a new test user. I'm just going to give it a password. I want to see the interface is if it's working to where if we didn't submit it, we're not going to get the buttons, which we're not, which is great. I can upvote, and now we have 3. We still need to figure out the sorting. That is the last thing we got to do, because these should be in order. But that is all working. I can't edit, I can't delete, but I can still add a local business. Let's add Monic, and then beer and food, and Monic. Alright, save business, there's Monic, and look, we can edit Monic, but we can't edit the others. So that's great. We can delete Monic. It already has our upvote, which is great. We can not have any votes, even though we created it. So that's all working. And then when we go to learn more, we see Monic. One thing you are seeing though is we didn't add a website, and this website is still showing. So I feel like we tested all the core functionality other than the sorting. Everything's working other than sorting. So let's address that real quick. To not be visible unless there is a website. When current page business website is not empty, then this is visible. And we'll do the same for location, because again, they're not required. We'll paste condition, but we'll change that to location. All right, and then we already did the same for the map. We'll do the same here. So I'll just grab the locations, copy, because we don't want to show the address if it doesn't exist either. Come back to text location and paste it there. And there we go. So now if we come over and go back to the list, because remember we said you had to have a description, but you didn't have to have a location. So if we add checks, I live in Germantown. If we don't add a website, great Monday night specials and frequent live music in the back. No location. If we save that, let's see what that looks like. We should see nothing on the right side, which we don't. This feels a little empty, but we can add those features at a different point. All right, back to list. That's empty, so we're going to delete it. And we'll want to build out Monic more. They have great food and beer, so we'll want to add that. Let's see if we can edit events. Let's see if it'll let us save it without that, in edit mode, without a name, have a description and edit. What if we save it to something with another name in edit mode? Oh, okay. So now we need to add that same logic that we did for edit as we did for submit. So we'll come back to workflow on the submit business and do the same. Copy expression. And we'll paste this, and all we have to change is not empty. All right. And then let's see, search for business greater than Let's actually change this to less than 1, because the other one is just a alert. So these should be the same. All right, we'll duplicate this, copy, paste, and then all we have to do here is change this to be is not empty, and it would show the alert. All right, let's come back. Hit edit, change this to naive, update business. Oh, sorry, we didn't refresh to load our new changes. All right. So come back here, we have naive, let's try and change this to naive. Hit update business. All right, it already exists. Let's see if we click out. Nope, there's not 2 naives. So now we can change this to checks. And then hit update, and it updated. All right, there we go. So we can delete that. We're good to go. So log out functionality works. Once we log out, all those different displays in my votes. We are seeing my votes when we're not logged in. So I like having that there so people can see that we have the feature. But let's just add a quick little text to my votes. Nope, too short. That says what we can do. Log in and let's actually raise that up, and we'll have this here permanently. View local businesses that you've upvoted previously. And then we'll show that always, but if they aren't logged in, and current user isn't logged in, we'll change that to log in to see businesses you've upvoted. Again, we could hide this, but my personal preference is like show the features exist and just limit functionality, so that way, again, you have more draw for people to use the app. So let's try that. Not logged in. It should change that text. Log in to see businesses you've upvoted. All right, if we log in, all right, view local. Let's change that. I don't like that language. Here by default. Here are businesses you've upvoted previously. Thanks for showing your support for these businesses. All right, and I don't know if we had any other features we wanted to add. We'll refresh. And we should be good to go. Okay, so we did not drag down the functionality to where if we wanted to remove our votes, that it would hide it. So we'll need to do that. But I'll do those updates later. We've been on for an hour and a half. And in our next session, we will start adding maybe some additional functionality. In the meantime, I'm also going to look into that sort issue, and we'll get this My Votes functionality working. So thanks for joining us today. If you have any questions, let us know. Let me know. I don't know why I said us. Let me know on Twitter or on Twitch or on YouTube if you're watching after the fact there. And then we also have this Made with Bourbon account. That's another Twitter account. Or talk to us in the comments. So thanks for joining. We'll catch you on our next build.